Plane flights, motor vehicles, hot air balloons, bones and skeletons. These are just some of the topics that we get to talk about in today's episode, and every single one of them is a metaphor for how you create the life of your dreams and how your business should be the vehicle for you to be able to achieve that. I know you're going to want to hit rewind on many times throughout this episode. Let's have a listen to business coach Steve Leach. So tell me about your journey of business coaching.
My journey is a little bit unique. To give a bit of history, in the mid-90s, I had a consulting company, primarily or specifically working with technology companies to help them or get them ready and help them and guide them on their exporting exploits. So they wanted to start, branching into other countries and that sort of thing. So I work with them specifically doing that. Now, in those, what I found is, I suppose, in the 90s, so many people were getting into business. We had, a lot of global media coming up with, so everyone's hearing about the Jobeses and the Gateses and all of these wonderful business unicorns around the world. So instead of the traditional way of getting into business where people would inherit, if you will, the business of their parents and be apprenticed by those parents, more and more people were deciding, hey, look, I'm just going to get into business. So in the sort of around 96, 97 that I'm talking about, there were a lot of workshops going on. Zig Ziglar's, Jimmy Rohn's, Tommy Hopkins, Anthony Robbins, presenting and speaking and teaching on quite specific topics. And I would go to a lot of those workshops, and they were really interesting. But I went to a seminar by this young Brad Sugars guy talking about business, and I was really, I suppose, impressed and inspired on how Brad brought together all of these various ingredients and pieces of business and put them together almost in a recipe. The 5 ways framework to go, wow, that really defines how all of these different strategies actually come together. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I applied for a job with Brad and got taken on, because I think what Brad was finding was that people would come to the seminars and workshops. You would learn, and then you would be left to your own devices to implement the strategies. Nobody in particular held people accountable. And it was like, great, I've got some great bumper sticker flip chart type lessons, but the applicability of that was missing. So Brad had the idea to invent this position or this role where we would work one-on-one with the businesses that had been to workshops and seminars, but then we would work one-on-one with them to expand on the education, to guide them, to apply the learnings to their specific business, and obviously hold them accountable. So now in 97, that role did not exist. I remember sitting with Brad and a couple of others brainstorming what we would call this thing, because it wasn't consulting, it wasn't just education, it wasn't contracting, it was something different. And so we thought coaching would be the best description. And back then, coaching had never really been used, as far as I know, outside of arts or sport. So the concept of business coaching was very, very different. But it's been great because people, and now, wow, the latest generations over the last decade or so of people just going, I'm not even going to have a job first. I'm just going to walk out of school and I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I've got 10 side hustles and I'm just going to jump into business, is absolutely staggering. And even in the past, people that had the perception that they could start or run a business with common sense. So look, I'm pretty bright. I've been a good technician. I'm going to start a business doing what I used to do from a production perspective. So they think commitment, common sense, will let them start a business, which it will, but it won't let them grow, run, and finish the business. And I think that's why we've got this huge, 96.8% or so of businesses that never get more than 4 employees, because as it grows, the friction of communication and coordination and control just gets too much. So, I've loved, 28 years of providing that education beyond the common sense, which gets people started, and providing that education that people can actually take it and turn it into a genuine business, so they get an income from running a business instead of an income from just production, and then spending 60 or 70 hours trying to coordinate the people that they do bring on.
Can you tell me a story of the most impactful story of working with a client that you've had throughout your career?
I remember I had a client that had a factory, manufactured polyurethane stuff, so all the black, chair arms on chairs and buses and bits and pieces. And one was working really hard and was frustrated. And I think one of the challenges in working 60 plus hours a week was that his wife, Wendy, was also in the business. So they got to see each other at work. There wasn't nobody was holding them, say, look, you need to get home to do anything. But he was really frustrated, and I suggested that he did a time and movement study, became aware of where his time was going. And of course, the objection that I got was, well, I don't have time to do a time and movement study. So I went away and I actually bought a chess clock, one of those clocks that you use when you play competitive chess where you hit the buttons. And I painted one button green and one button red, and one of the clocks was red and green. I took it back to Wayne. I said, look, whenever you're doing business owner-worthy activity, you hit the green button. As soon as you're interrupted or you stop, hit the red button. The impact of that for my clients over the years, and that's pretty early, it's probably 20 years ago now, has been absolutely profound. The awareness of where time goes.
Hats off to you for committing to your learning by listening to this podcast. And if you'd like some help implementing some of these strategies, then click the link in the description to find your local action coach. They can help you put these strategies into action and take your business and your life to the next level. In the meantime, like and subscribe so that you're the first to get our next episode. We'll see you soon.